What if wizards were really alive here among us? In fact, what if the greatest wizard Merlin were standing in front of us and you could ask him anything you wanted? I believe all of us would ask him the same questions. Although we all come from different backgrounds and have lived different life histories, each of us, after some consideration, would ask the deep spiritual questions that arise generation after generation. Why am I here? What makes life good or bad? What is the cause of suffering, and how can I get out of it? What happens after I die? People once went to wizards to ask these questions, although in some cultures another term might have been used, such as shaman or guru or simply wise man. In our society, however, all these functions have disappeared. Unfortunately, we have no certain definite source to answer the deep mysteries. No wizard or wise father who can be completely trusted to know what we want to know. So let us change that. Let us imagine that we can actually summon Merlin to ask anything we want. Before us is the Crystal Cave, the legendary retreat where the boy Arthur learned everything from Merlin before he returned to the world to pull the sword from the stone and claim his destiny as King Arthur of England. I propose that this famous scene of a master teaching his pupil isn't legendary, but always exists within us. The Crystal Cave is a symbol for our own awareness. Within this cave is a deep spiritual center, and within it, each of us is our own wizard and our own Arthur. We are both the question and the questioner, answer and answerer. The trouble is that we don't realize our power to summon the inner wizard with all its knowledge. We believe that we are bound by this little slice of time and space that seems to contain us. Yet, in truth, we are the unconditioned spirit that has taken on conditions, the unbounded awareness that has chosen boundaries. Rather than just creating a fanciful exercise here, what I'd like to do is lead you into the crystal cave of your own awareness in order for you to come away with the power to recreate the same scene at will, to summon your own inner wizard. Although we believe that wizards no longer walk among us, if they ever did, the truth is that wizards exist within us and only there. With the help of these talented and wonderful readers, let's set the stage and listen to Merlin introduce the path that we are about to set foot upon.
There is a way called the Wizard's Way. Have you heard of it?
The boy Arthur looked up in surprise. He had been building the morning fire in front of the cave, and it wasn't going well. Building a fire rarely went well on the damp mornings of early spring in the West Country.
No, I haven't heard of it. Are there really wizards? Do they do things a different way from us?
No, exactly the way we do. With a sharp flick, he snapped his fingers and Arthur jumped back. The little soggy heap of kindling in front of him had leaped into flame. I was getting impatient, Merlin explained with a shrug.
Merlin then opened his hands very wide and produced some food out of thin air. 2 russet potatoes and a clutch of wild mushrooms.
Put these on skewers and roast them, if you will. We have other things on our mind today.
Arthur nodded matter-of-factly. He was about 10. The only person he had ever known in his life was this old man. They had always been together for as long as the boy could remember. He must have had a mother, but her face didn't register in his memory, not even as a dim shadow. The old man with the flowing white beard had claimed his right to this royal baby an hour after it was born.
Sit by me, Arthur, and heed my words. I am the last of the Wizard's Way, and perhaps you will be the last to learn it.
Merlin, a wizard? It had never occurred to him. The two lived alone in the crystal cave, surrounded by thick forests. The glow of the cave gave them light. Arthur had learned to swim by turning into a fish. When he wanted food, it appeared out of thin air. Wasn't that how it was for everyone?
You see, you will be leaving here soon without me, and you will have to be your own guide from that time forth. Mind you don't drop that potato in the ashes.
Well, of course, the boy had already dropped the potato. Because Merlin lived backwards in time, as wizards do, his warnings always came too late, after some minor disaster had already occurred. Arthur brushed the soot off the potato and replaced it on its skewer.
Don't worry, that one can be yours. As I say, you must go into the world soon, and to succeed in your destiny, this knowledge of the wizard must go with you.
The boy interrupted him. But I don't want to go. What shall I do without you?
Arthur had only been away from the crystal cave a handful of times in his whole life, and then it was only to a nearby village following Merlin. On those rare occasions, the wizard had been very careful to disguise both of them in heavily hooded cloaks.
If I leave, what will happen to you?
Me? Don't puff yourself up. I shall get along perfectly well without your help, thank you.
The instant Merlin loosed this curt retort, he knew the boy's feelings were hurt. But wizards never explain and never apologize. Neither of them spoke. But suddenly, a handsome long bow made of white ash appeared on the ground beside Arthur.
Thank you, I accept. In their private code, he knew that this was the old man's form of apology.
Merlin pretended to ignore the boy's words. Rather than wasting your worries on me, I would have you worry about the thing that matters most, the loss of this knowledge. 7 things I'm going to tell you that you must remember. Without these lessons, you will go out into the world as merely an ordinary mortal. With this knowledge, however, well, we shall see what you will be, won't we?
The boy was not so young and confused that he wanted merely to be ordinary. Tell me then, he said, putting down his food.
It is easier to tell this knowledge than to live it, Merlin replied, as if hesitating. Do not commit my words to memory, but rather let them seep into you like water seeping underground to form a secret spring. To this spring you must return if you are to keep my words alive. First, I am not the only wizard in the world. There is a wizard inside you, and he is your proper teacher and guide. Second, you were born to discover this inner wizard and to learn to hear his voice, which speaks in silence. Third, the inner wizard is beyond all opposites of good and evil, light and dark, pleasure and pain. Fourth, when you know your inner wizard, you will realize that the outer world merely mirrors the moods and desires of this wizard. Fifth, although your mind and body may sleep, the wizard is ever awake. Sixth, what the wizard sees has its roots in the unseen world. Seventh, the wizard knows the secret of immortality.
I am living as a finite package of flesh and bone in thin wedges of space.